Welcome back to Solomon's Porch with your host, Jason.
And Shawn.
And we are again joined by a special guest. If you have listened to the show for a while, you probably know about Trackstarz. And if you know about Trackstarz, you definitely know about DJ Jeremaya. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, man. So it's great to have you on board. Today, we're going to be talking about our top DC films, So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. I'm excited because... Hold up. Oh, man, I messed up. Ooh, all right. Ignore the video feed there. So we have DJ Jeremaya, and with the Snyder Cut coming out, you know, Shawn and I were just thinking about DC films and how they're starting to improve a little bit. And I think, you know, DJ Jeremaya doesn't necessarily agree with that at the fullest capacity. And so we're going to talk about our top 5 DC films. And as always, we want to let our guest of honor start off with his number 5.
My number 5 is Superman 4. And for y'all who out there that said Superman got 4, I just know Man of Steel and Superman Begins. This is like the 80s Superman movies with Christopher Reeves and Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. This was so dope. Of course, at the time in the 80s, the world was at chaos with the U.S. and the Soviet Union and nuclear bombs and all this other stuff. And just, you know, that movie to me, I liked it very much. It's one of my favorite Superman movies. Nuclear Man who was going against Superman. He had like claws and he was scratching Superman, and we thought Superman couldn't beat him until Superman realized how to beat him. And it's dope to me. I love that movie. That's like it's not like not one of those I sit down and watch all the time if it comes on. It's rare that it comes on though, but it was one of those dope movies I had on tape as a kid. So Superman 4 is my number 5.
See, HBO Max has all those films, man. You can go watch them all.
Bro, let me tell you, man. I was reminiscing with my daughter because I grew up in the 80s, right? Christopher Reeve was definitely my Superman. And I owned the first 2 movies. And I was like, yeah, sweetie, they even made like a third one too. And she's like, Daddy, they made 4. I was like, for real? What was the 4th one about? I never saw it.
I think a lot of people didn't. I didn't know there was a Superman 4. I thought it was 3. So
yeah, I think of course the one that's probably the most noticeable is when Superman 2, if I'm not mistaken, when he had to fight the 3 people from Krypton, and that's probably the most popular one in that series because I think Superman 3, I can't remember it, so I know it wasn't that popular.
I think that's the one everybody hated, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. One of them had Richard Pryor in it. I can't remember which Superman. Yeah, and I know that one wasn't the greatest one, but Superman 4 was just a quiet taste. But it's a personal favorite for me.
Wait, was Richard Pryor Jimmy Olsen? Is that who?
I don't think
so. Okay.
He'd be too old.
I ain't seen it, but anyway.
You're like 40.
Shawn, number 5. You're number 5.
My number 5 is Wonder Woman. Not 1984, but Wonder Woman. We're kind of limited with what we have to work with here, and there's tons of. I'd say that there's a healthy catalog of stuff. It's just that, you know, as time has gone on, we say, okay, you know, maturity-wise, what's been most well-developed, what has the best story, what has the best action, CG, all that other stuff. And so, you know, even though, like, my heart is you know, with Michael Keaton Batman, it's, you know, those movies just didn't make my list. So, you know, definitely looking at newer films. Wonder Woman, I thought, was a really great storyline. I love the mythology. They started fleshing some of that out. I think that part of the key here for this first movie was that Patty Jenkins was working with Zack Snyder, so we got the Wonder Woman that I think that we all wanted and you know, deserved, to be honest with you, until Patty had her own way and then she kind of messed it all up. But anyway, that aside, Wonder Woman. It makes my number 5.
Yeah, man. Wonder Woman 84 was like the worst 5 DC films. So my number
Yeah, it was
5,
not good.
my
Not good
number
at all.
5 came out the year I was born. The original Batman with Michael Keaton, and it just is
Well,
that's my Batman. The year I was born, the first Batman film I've seen, he was the first representation of a live action Batman that I experienced. And Tim Burton, I mean, he's at this point kind of a classic filmmaker. Seeing his take on it,
Mhm.
and I'm excited to see him return in the Flash movie whenever that comes out. If that still happens, there's some talks about it might not actually being able to happen for weird things they can't control. But either way, that Batman for me is my jam. So it's my number 5.
Mm.
DJ, what's your number 4, sir?
Well, my number 4 is a cult classic right now. Some may hate it or love it. I liked it. That's why it's my number 4. Suicide Squad. I liked it. I like Will Smith in it. I actually like the whole storyline. Honestly, if you didn't know Harley's kind of story in that, it really brought out her storyline. I didn't like Jared Leto as what I call hip hop Joker because he was tatted up and all this other stuff. I didn't really dig that, but I
and the grill.
thought for oh yeah, and the grill as well. I thought the movie was really good. I could if it comes on, I'll sit down and watch it. And out of a lot of the DC movies of this current age, um, if I had to sit and watch it again, out of a lot of those movies, I'll probably sit and watch this more than one time. You know what I mean? So I'll put it on my list at number 4, Suicide Squad.
Okay.
All right.
No arguments. This isn't for
All
that.
right. So you know me, I got to go a little bit outside the box.
Yeah.
It technically is a DC movie. We didn't specifically say DC superhero movie. So Red 2, and you probably could have guessed that because it's been on some of my other lists. Again, it's a fun story to me. It's that kind of action that you can always just put on and enjoy. There's lots of just like almost slightly cliche-ish things that take place, but that are still cool just the same. It's not worn out yet. And Bruce Willis, I mean, come on. He does my favorite Christmas movie too, so what can I say?
Now, Die Hard.
So my number 4 is probably on most people's top 5, including y'all's at some point, The Dark Knight. I mean, it's just, at this point, it's a classic with Heath Ledger just nailing the role of the Joker. The story was great. Seeing the story of Two-Face unfold and how Batman becomes, the fugitive of the people, and then leading into more of the Dark Knight Returns kind of thing. The Dark Knight Returns kind of storyline of old Batman, old decrepit Batman making a comeback. And this film just, to me, it just checks all the points. Story, the top-notch villain that really challenges the hero. I think we don't see a whole lot of single villains in any universe that challenges the protagonist in the way that the Joker does. And seeing this film, him choosing between his love and the White Knight being Two-Face. Yeah. I'm losing names today. Daggone. But I can't come up with any name off my head right now. So anyway, so seeing that in this film, and then the end, him having to take kind of the L, he took the loss in order for the people to win. So which is just great storytelling, man. So that's my number 4. DJ, your number 3, sir.
I believe it was somebody else's list too.
Yep.
Batman, the original Batman with Michael Keaton. It was one of those movies that it was still kind of like you said. Tim Burton directed it. It was very good to me. It was one of the first times seeing a Batman dark, if you get what I'm saying. Like prior to this Batman of my age group, you used to see Batman on television punching people with the words and biff, pow, so, ooh, and like, you know, that's the Batman I remember seeing as a kid on reruns when I was a kid. But when I remember this Batman as a kid as well, I was like, wow, this is dope. It had the dark feel to it. The music was dope to it. I forgot who did the score to it, but he killed it. A very known scorer.
Prince was on it.
Prince was on it. Yeah, he did the soundtrack to it. I got a lot of my friends in trouble for some of those Prince lyrics that I used to make you laugh and stuff. But I think overall, man, it was one of the Batmans that I really, really like. And also, I think Jack Nicholson Joker is like right there behind Heath Ledger. So
yeah, absolutely.
It was funny because I heard that when they were casting for Joker and Jack Nicholson wanted to play that role, that they didn't think he could do it. Like they were like, no, that's not going to work, and he ended up pulling it off and doing a great job with it. So yeah, man. So Shawn, you're number 3, sir.
Well, my number 3 is Dark Knight. You've already brought it up. You know, again, same stuff, same song and dance. You know, Joker for all of, you know, the depth that is brought to that character. You know, to me, when I look at the Nolan trilogy, you know, it is definitely stands heads and above the others. And I say not as entirely, but it definitely stands out. You know, Bane was good, but the Joker.
Yeah.
Said.
Yeah. So my number, was it 3? Yeah, my number 3, we're going to dive into the animated world. I'm bringing out Flashpoint. Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox. The story in itself is great. And so seeing Thomas Wayne being the Batman, the kind of more evil-looking Batman, people kind of wonder if Batman had guns and he would actually take people out, what he would be like. This is it. Just seeing the storyline, you know, the changes that are made. And, like, Flashpoint is just one of those things where, you know, like, every heavy story has this idea, if you could change one little thing, you know, how would it be impacted? And that's what Flashpoint does for the DC universe. And then when you just, you know, people have fan casted Thomas Wayne in the real live action universe. And if you know the guy that plays Negan from The Walking Dead, people want him to play Thomas Wayne in the live Flashpoint film if they bring in a Thomas Wayne character. And it's just, you know, my favorite Flash story, and this is just a really great film. I mean, you think about it, like, he goes back in time for the chance to save his mother from being killed. Like, that's a very relatable type of a thing. If anybody went back in time and had that opportunity, I think most people would take that chance. And then having to turn around and sacrifice it in order to, you know, bring back what was lost or to fix the problems, you know, that's a very conflicting issue for a main character and a hero. So,
well, you know, Jeffrey Morgan, who plays Negan, was actually Thomas Wayne in Batman vs Superman.
Oh yeah. I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually uncredited if you look him up, but that was him.
Cool. I'm about to go back and watch that now. Nice. So yeah, man, let's go to number 2. DJ, what's your number 2, sir?
Everybody keeps saying The Dark Knight, and it's up there, but my number 2 is The Dark Knight Rises. I feel like this movie, I saw this in the theaters the week it came out with, at the time, my wife, but she was my girlfriend then. And, you know, it was the funniest thing. She stood up and screamed like, oh, and started clapping. I was like, sit down. But it was very good. Like, it was one of those movies where, like, the Bane character was amazing. Like, it was really dope. He killed Bane. Like, he really did his thing as Bane. I like how they even like sprinkled in Scarecrow. And honestly, I think if Heath Ledger was alive, man, I think he would have been in Dark Knight Rises. I think some type of way they would have kind of tried to bring him back. But I think the story in Dark Knight Rises was really good. And I mean, the scene with Bane breaking his back is just amazing. Yeah. It's one of the best scenes in cinema. His dialogue in that is so good. And it's just so funny. It's just like and I also have a story about that too. My wife, she grabbed me, and I'm like, "Why are you grabbing me?" And she got mad at me because Bane broke his back, and she was like, "Oh, babe, hold me." I was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, and she tells that story to me all the time. But I just love the movie, and that's one of those movies. If it comes on, and I have time to watch, I will watch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Bro, I want to go see a movie with your wife. She sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's my number 2.
Good. Definitely a good film.
Yeah.
Shawn, you're number 2,
all right,
sir.
Well, I kind of alluded to this a little while ago. Batman Begins. To me, it's still the most excellent beginning. You know, we get all the history of Batman within this movie, so we see the development of the character that we know and love as time goes on. And it's, I know it's been told a lot, but it's I think that Nolan did it the best justice possible that you could do on film with the limited amount of time that he had for any movie, and especially for an origin story of Batman that could go anywhere and everywhere in the world. So it definitely ranks up there pretty high for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely bringing Ra's al Ghul, that whole storyline to me made that movie to me a classic. So my number 2, diving right back into the animated world, Apocalypse War, Justice League, Dark Apocalypse War. This is probably one of to me, it was definitely the best DC film up until my number 1 released. And story is great. Just, you see Darkseid take control of, spoiler, of Batman, and you got Batman kind of being on the dark side, pun intended, fighting against the other heroes of the DC universe, and then you see other heroes becoming villains, and then you got this all-out war. And Shawn, if this is a live-action film, you would hate it because of all the different big names in it. But then Constantine, seeing his role, and
I would say unless Zack Snyder has like 8 hours to make the movie, then,
That's funny.
But I normally I'm not a fan of Constantine, but I felt like he played a very intricate role in this film. And then, spoilers, at the very end, what happens to reset everything? See, the DC animated universe was kind of coming to a close. And so they were trying to figure out, how do we end this out phenomenally? So they have the all-out war, heroes against heroes, Darkseid pulling strings, and then at the very end, they say Flashpoint. So Flash pretty much goes back, boom, revamps the whole DC universe. Now we have a new suit. Like they rebooted the Superman character with a what is it, Man of Tomorrow, I think it was called. So anyway, it was a great way to end out the DC animated universe as we knew it. They wanted to bring in more actors to portray these new or classic characters in new ways. And great film. When it first came out, so many people were talking about it, and I was going to wait for it to hit the DC Universe app, because like all of the films get put up there as well, and I have a subscription to that, like a yearly subscription. I had to go ahead and buy it because everybody was just like, this movie is phenomenal, and I was never really into animated films that much, but the DC Universe has made me more interested in it, and honestly, I feel like DC animated films stand toe-to-toe with MCU live-action films. So
maybe I need to try checking animated films out.
I wouldn't necessarily fully disagree with that, but something that I've liked about DC animated movies, you've got like Jason O'Mara, who does Marvel stuff, for like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
He frequently appears as Batman. You got Rosario Dawson, who's also, so you get a lot of like actors and actresses that frequently do, geeky or fandom type stuff. So to me, it's fun to see who's voicing in a lot of those movies.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So number 1, DJ Jeremaya. Land your plane, sir.
My plane is landing, and I see the people waving, baby. I go with Dark Knight. It's on y'all list. It's on everybody's list. It's one of the most. I'm saying this. It's a few movies that have an incredible intro to the movie, and this movie intro is the most incredible intro of the movie. That it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Christopher Nolan, of course. I mean, I don't want to keep hitting a dead horse because we keep, because Dark Knight was on y'all's list as well, but it was just brilliantly shot, brilliantly written. It was very good. It was, man, and it just took Heath Ledger into legendary status, man. Like, his Joker is number 1, and I don't care how many other Jokers come out. Whatever, you know what I mean? It's just his Joker was so epic that it was like, you can't like top this. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't even know who can top it. You know what I mean? Maybe years from now, a new kid will come in, somebody come in and try to be Joker and try to do it. But Heath Ledger just kills it. And I was like, wow. You know what I mean? I remember seeing somebody's tweet was like, I just realized we will never see another better Joker than this Joker in The Dark Knight. And yeah, man, and it's just so many dope things in it, and man, it's so, and it's very before I go, it's very like thought provoking, because it's not even the scene, it's so many parts in the scene where the Joker makes you think, like from the beginning scene to the scene where he said tryouts to the scene where they're on a boat, and it's like, if I'm on a boat with quote unquote righteous people and then on the other boat it's criminals, like, do I kill these people? You know what I mean? Versus like, because he's wanted to show you like, y'all just like them, but you seem righteous, quote unquote righteous, but you're just like them if you wanted to kill them. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Dark Knight is my number 1 DC
I'm going to
movie.
make this pencil disappear.
And Cameron Monaghan in Gotham did a great Joker, but you're right. I mean, like he gets up there, but Heath Ledger.
Yeah. That tryout scene was, that was a standout. So, Shawn, you and I had the same exact number 1, sir.
Well, and I want to point out, DJ, you haven't seen our number 1 movie. I if I understood correctly from our conversations at the beginning.
Yeah.
So I think maybe this might have edged out a little bit for you had you had this in your arsenal.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So our number 1 is, Shawn, I'll let you do the honor, sir.
Snyder Cut.
Yeah, man.
I mean, duh, right? I mean, it is phenomenal. It is epic. I text my brother, I text Jason both, and I was just like almost ranting frantically through my phone, trying to get all the words out fast enough and autocorrect to tell them how phenomenal this movie is. Take your time watching it. Yes, it's long. It's broken up into sections. Take it that way if you got to. But look at this and then check out this. And oh man, it was. I was so overwhelmed. I've talked about how excited I've been over like Mandalorian episodes where it's just like, man, I'm exhausted. I'm wore out from watching this episode. This movie is the same way, except that it's a marathon.
Yeah. I mean, we get the almost, compared to the other films that we've had in this particular DC universe, we get the best version of each character, in my opinion. You get a cyborg that's not just kind of ran over. We get.
Yeah, he's not sidelined. He's not like Hawkeye. Yeah. We get depth. We get to know who he is.
He honestly, he's one of the main characters of this story. And
really
where in the other film, he was just like a side character who they were trying to squeeze in.
Oh, yeah. Wow. By the way, there's this guy, and he's got,
And I mean, you got, Wonder Woman. I can't do spoilers. But there's a very phenomenal scene that she does, which is completely 180 from Wonder Woman 84. And I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted. Like the whole time, this particular type of a thing. And so that's exciting for me.
Well,
That sounds bad.
you know, the thing is that this film only the first movie only had about 30 to 45 minutes or so of Zack Snyder's film in it.
Yeah.
So you know, you less than a quarter of the current film was in the old film. So they look totally different. They feel completely different. The way that Zack brings in the music and changes that up makes an epic change. Like there's, you know, the classic, and this is in the first movie, so it's not really a spoiler. You should have already watched it. But when Wonder Woman, excuse me, is fighting off the terrorists, and you got all those people there, the timing for the music is different. The timing for this entire scene is different. It feels different. It comes across different, and it plays out much more majestically than the Joss Whedon. I don't know. It feels like a kid in coloring crayons is you know what Joss did to this film. So
Yeah, and the design changes for Superman were subpar. They were just phenomenal. The ending, the epilogue where we see extra bits of film is great. You know, we get a better look. Well, I'm not going to say that. That's kind of spoilery-ish, you know, unless you've seen the trailers. Even Batman, I felt like, came across a little bit better with Ben Affleck. You know, I'm not necessarily a Batfleck fan, but I feel like this gave a much better kind of version of Ben Affleck's Batman. And, you know, just everything was so much better, in my opinion, for this. I don't think there was one portion of the theatrical release that I like better. The other thing, too, and DJ Jeremaya, you'll appreciate this. If you remember all of the footage in the trailers when the theatrical version came out, there were so many things that were missing from the film that were not in the film that were in the trailers. Like half of the trailer was not in the film. This film has all the trailer footage in it and everything to back it up. Like it matches the trailer. Phenomenal. So anyway, man, that's our number one. I will say the question that we have to have here, and this kind of makes me, it's kind of like a line for line thing. Is Dark Knight the greatest DC film of all time? It's the only film that made all three of our lists. It makes almost anybody's top DC list for the most part. Does this
top three?
Does it make the top five? I mean, the number one DC film. I mean,
not anymore.
Not anymore. So okay. DJ Jeremaya, when you see Snyder Cut, you gotta let us know, man. What are your thoughts?
I may stay up tonight and watch it. I mean, I gotta fold some clothes, so I may put it on and watch it the way y'all was hyping it up and stuff like that. Well, I will say this though. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, please don't do anything else while you're watching it, because there's so many little things that you're gonna miss that are just, they play hard in the movie.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll wait till tomorrow. But here's a question: do you think? I think Zack Snyder should just be over DC movies, and Christopher Nolan should be over Marvel movies.
No, you mean Christopher?
Not. I'm sorry.
Russo
not
Brothers?
Marvel. Russo. Yeah, I forgot. But I just feel like prime example. Like I feel like Christopher Nolan, or even Zack Snyder now, should do Dick Tracy over. What do you guys think? Like a version, like, I mean, if you remember the Warren Beatty movie, it was kind of dark. It was kind of that, but from a perspective now, like imagine like Dark Knight type of Dick Tracy movie. That would be incredible.
Absolutely. I think, and now's the time to be able to do something like that, you know, because then you're still, you know, we're bringing out some of the old comic book stuff that folks, you know, they read, you know, not too long ago did The Spirit. I say not too long ago. I don't know. It's probably been at least a decade now. And The Spirit had a pretty decent treatment to it. Will Eisner's creative genius wasn't really fleshed out in the movie, so I don't think it was very well executed. And I think the same thing with Dick Tracy. It was slightly too comical-ish, I guess,
Yeah.
or plastic feeling. Whereas now I think that we could take someone like Zach and hand that off to him, and he's going to give us something that we're just going to go, wow, I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about the
Yeah.
Justice League Snyder Cut is they toned back all of the interjected comedy. Like the first one, it felt like they had to put in some little comical aspects to it. Like Batman was funny here and there. In this one, no funny Batman.
The Aquaman and Wonder Woman with the lasso thing.
Yeah, that wasn't in there.
That was all Joss.
Yeah, so which I'm happy. It felt more like a DC film rather than a DC film trying to have Marvel elements to it to make it more family friendly. So and it's rated R for a reason too. So
wow. Yeah. Do you have any honorable mentions? Because I have one.
Yeah. Go ahead, DJ.
I would say Aquaman would be an honorable mention for me. It was very good. It reminded me. It had some moments of it that reminded me of Black Panther, where it was like when they were in his when they were like Wakanda and versus in the sea and stuff that reminded me a little bit of Black Panther. But overall, it was a decent movie. I enjoyed Aquaman, so that would be an honorable mention for me.
To me, Aquaman had a mixture of Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok. For me.
Okay.
So anyway, Shawn, honorable mention.
Again, I could go over all the other Batman movies just because as a Batman fan, all the old Superman movies, so on and so forth. But I'm going to go outside the normal realm. And again, this was a movie that made one of my lists not too long ago as one of my favorite comic book movies, The Losers. Speaking of Negan, the actor who plays Negan, it's just one of those storylines that I think that I don't know. It's really appealing to folks right now. We've got sort of anti-hero kind of stuff going on, lots of great action, and the characters are just they're pretty well fleshed out in this film, so you get a good idea. But it has just enough depth to say, okay, I watched something and I got a story, but definitely plenty of action to make you kind of just go, ha, ha, ha.
Right. My honorable mentions, Man of Steel. I really enjoyed that film, even though a lot of people didn't. Batman Begins. Batman Under the Red Hood. I really enjoyed that animated. The Killing Joke. The animated film. I didn't like the first portion they added to it, but the comic book specific portion of the film, which is like after the first 20-25 minutes, phenomenal. One of the most classic Joker performances in comic book history. And then Mask of the Phantasm. I actually saw
I remember that.
Jared Sanders put a tweet out and he said, I don't understand how people place Dark Knight above Mask of the Phantasm. And I think he said it was probably because of the live action element to it. But Mask of the Phantasm is a fantastic story, and the movie was great as well. So if you haven't seen, the animated films are great. If you have HBO Max, you can see most, if not all of them on there. Probably not all of them, but most of them are up there. So that is our round 5 DC films. DJ Jeremaya, thank you for joining us for this round 5, sir.
Thank you.
Hopefully people won't, be respectful if you disagree with his number 4, okay? Just be respectful about it, all right? So we'll be back with another segment soon. Stay tuned.